The aim of this video is to obtain information on how this approach respectively used by the teachers and the learners in the classroom setting. It also aimed for providing such applicable ways on understanding paraphrastic approach, while evaluating some features with deeper meaning and hard phrases. Now let's go to the meaning of paraphrastic approach. Paraphrastic approach deals with the surface meaning of the text, according to Wang and MB 2007. In teaching of literature portion, the paraphrastic approach was also the most favored among the other approaches. Here, teachers retell the text to students in order to ensure that students understand and have positive input from the teaching process in the classroom to help them understand the literature aspect and use clear terms to illustrate it. Teachers use this approach by paraphrasing and rewording the story in the simpler language and even translating it into other languages in order for the learner, to understand the story very well. Therefore, this approach is simplifying the text with simple language use to be improvised for better understanding. Thus, in language learning techniques, it is a communicative way to really give positive learning outcomes in the class. So, now let's discuss about this approach. Many scenes that are eventually manifested to this approach, especially in the classroom setting, that are identifiable when delivering the lessons to the students. This teacher-centered approach usually done during the lessons. Here, teachers are begun to discuss something about the intended topic, which is typically related to the authors, given words or phrases that seems to be deepened in the various texts given. Sometimes, teachers undeniably deliver the paraphrase sentence that vary with context they wanted to perform and cooperate with. Hence, there might be logical phrases that sometimes needed most attention and full understanding of the text to provide well-constructed paraphrasing sentences. But on the other hand, logical structure sentence will always fall again for giving the deeper meaning with words that are familiar to the students. However, simpler words paraphrasing activity is somewhat more creative and can enhance vocabulary of the learners as well as the teacher himself. Now, giving the examples, many features give emphasis to this approach. Now, let's take a look to this one. Example: the number of foreign and domestic tourists in the Netherlands rose about 42 million in 2017. An increase of 9% and the sharpest growth rate since 2006, the National Statistics Office CBS reported on Wednesday. Dutch News 2018. Now, let's make it common paraphrased version. To make it more acceptable and valuable, let's make it common. The paraphrased version for me now, according to National Statistics Office of the Netherlands, experienced dramatic growth of tourist numbers in 2017. More than 42 million tourists traveled within the Netherlands that year, representing a 9% increase, the steepest in 12 years. So, to analyze it, common paraphrasing ability on the text requires proper arrangement of the text given without any lesson information, and still merge for complete representation of the text. The paraphrased version, it makes it more longer, but it is reliable and is certain also. The second one, we have here the original text example. A quote from Albert Einstein. Any fool can make things bigger, more complex, and more violent. It takes a touch of genius and a lot of courage to move on the opposite direction. My perfect version of it, this one. Any fool can make stuff bigger, more complicated, and more dangerous. The step in the opposite direction requires a touch of genius and a lot of bravery. Now, to analyze it, on this text, we can paraphrase it while using related words or synonyms itself, just to make it more understood and also will enhance our vocabulary skills. In order for us to deliver the lessons very well and for our learners also, for them to understand clearly. Now, as a result of the given examples above, featuring some basic and common texts and phrases used by the authors are analytically fall under the basic creativity in writing with grammar comprehension, brevity, and modes of understanding to the phrase word. The findings about the analysis gives an emphasis and explanation about the effects caused that this approach affects many educators for developing the vocabulary of the students that eventually happen and seems to be effective for class. Through this approach, with basic skills that is intended for it will definitely comprehensible. Overall, this approach used by the teachers requires a proper customizations of the text given for class objectives, referring this to learning outcomes while using strategies in learning procedures. This approach is matter of the deeper enhance of the skills intended for the learning itself.